Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we are talking about Pumpkinhead. So Pumpkinhead is one of those films that is just, near and dear to my heart. I love this movie, as you guys can see. I got the shirt right here from Cavity Colors. I got the poster back here. And then I also got my VHS Pumpkinhead signed by Lance Henriksen. So as you guys can see, I'm a pretty big Pumpkinhead fan. This is a film that I wanted to talk to you guys about for a while now. I feel it's one of those movies that, especially horror, it just doesn't get talked about as much. And it's a fantastic film. I really, really love it. And, it's perfect for this time of year as well, Halloween. So, this film came out in 1988. It is directed by legendary special effects artist Stan Winston, and it stars Lance Henriksen. And basically, the plot of this film is you have Ed Harley, who's played by Lance Henriksen. He lives out in the middle of the country with his boy. He owns this shop where, locals stop by and stuff. And one day, these teenagers come through, and his boy accidentally gets killed in a, hit and run. So not really an accident, I guess, but he gets killed in a hit and run, and the teenagers, they take off, and Ed ends up coming back, finds his kid, and he ends up going into the woods to find this witch who he heard of, when he was a kid, that there's this special demon called Pumpkinhead, and he wants to summon it to seek revenge for, what happened to his boy. But little does he know, there's a steep price to pay for all of this.
Will it be all right? Should I be afraid?
There's so many things that I really enjoy about, Pumpkinhead. One of them just being, where this film takes place. It takes place in the country, and then, you have this whole urban legend behind, Pumpkinhead, this monster, this, creature that lives out, in the woods, and people talk about it. You even have this really great scene that I'll show you guys a clip of right here, where, the kids are doing the Pumpkinhead rhyme, and I just absolutely love that scene.
Shut up, Hess.
Keep away from Pumpkinhead unless you're tired of living.
His enemies are mostly dead. He's mean and unforgiving. Stop it!
Also just love how, Pumpkinhead himself looks. Stan Winston, he directed this film, a really, really good special effects artist. And, the monster himself is just, to me, is so iconic. I could just pick him out and just, with the practical effects. They ended up doing a couple more of these films, like 3 and 4, down the line, and they did CGI. And it just, I haven't seen those in a while, but from what I remember, they just look awful compared to, what Pumpkinhead looks like in 1 and 2, as far as just the special effects go. And in my opinion, especially when it comes to horror, why a lot of times I tend to like the practical effects way more than I do CGI when it comes to horror films, for the most part. One of the aspects, too, that I like about the movie is that when it starts off, we get, kind of opens up and you see this guy running through the woods, and he goes up to a cabin, and he's banging on the door. He's like, help, it's gonna get me. And you can tell the people in the cabin know what's happening. They're like, yep, nope, you got to get away. We don't want anything to do with this. And you end up finding out that was Ed Harley as a kid, and so you get to see a glimpse of Pumpkinhead, right in the beginning of the movie. You don't get to see the whole thing, which I really like. Sometimes it's good to just start off slowly, and then as the movie progresses, maybe then we finally see the whole creature, which we do. But that was, a nice little tease in the beginning of the movie. So that was a really good way to kick things off.
Looking for an old woman. She lives somewhere in the mountains hereabouts.
All she can do is take you straight to hell. You go home and you bury your boy.
Some folks will say is how she's got powers.
I also like this film isn't, I feel your typical horror film either. There's definitely, a good story behind it, whether it just be the urban legend, myth, of Pumpkinhead himself, but also just it's a tragic story because of what happens to, Ed's kid. He ends up getting ran over, and while that, and obviously that's very sad, but while you have that taking place, and you have the one guy who's a dick and his girlfriend, they're the ones that take off and leave them behind. Some of the kids actually stay and try to help, this kid because, they're trying to wait till the father gets back, Ed. And so, they're not all completely assholes like the the guy that actually hit him. So when Pumpkinhead, he rises and he starts going after these kids, you actually kind of feel bad for some of them, especially the way that Pumpkinhead, tears them up throughout the movie, because he's pretty vicious. Like, there's like one scene where he takes this one girl and like smashes her head through the window and, just like rubbing it all over the place or whatever, and there's just like blood everywhere. It's pretty brutal. But you feel something for these characters, because not all of them are just complete dicks. So I really like that aspect.
It was an accident.
And then another part of it is that, Lance Henriksen, he finds out that, after he goes and sees the witch, and I think her name is Haggis in the film, at least in the first one, Pumpkinhead rises from the grave, and he soon realizes that after he starts going after these kids, whenever he's about to, where he starts killing one of these kids, Ed, kind of gets like possessed or whatever by Pumpkinhead, and he actually like sees through the demon's eyes as he's killing these people. So he has to live all of these murders like himself. So it's pretty intense, and soon he realizes like what a mistake that he's made, and throughout the film at one point he tries to go after Pumpkinhead to try and help these kids and take them down and correct the mistakes that he made. So it's definitely got a lot of different elements and layers that, they could have very easily just made this a movie about, hey, there's Pumpkinhead and, he's going after these kids. And that could have been it, really. Because there's as you guys know, there's a lot of crappy movies that came out in 80s, 90s and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of good ones, but there's definitely a lot of crappy ones too. So they very easily could have done that. And instead, they actually chose to give, some background, some good story to this film, and I really appreciate that.
It's gotta run its course. Now it begins. It begins.
And as I just mentioned too, with the witch, another aspect of the film, I really liked how she looked. She was super creepy, when Ed goes into her house, kind of goes farther into like the swamp, like wooded area. And no one wants to people know of her, but no one wants to go near that house. And so they Ed goes to visit her, and just the way the cabin's set up, the way she looks, super, super creepy. The actress did a fantastic job, with that performance. And also when Ed, afterwards he goes to dig up Pumpkinhead himself, just like the graveyard, the pumpkin patch area where Pumpkinhead is located was really cool. So, I mean, just the mood, the atmosphere that, Stan created with this film, I thought was really, really fitting. And it's, again, perfect film to watch around this time of year. As you guys can tell, this is a movie that I love. I watched it, a number of times. It's something that I always have to watch every single Halloween. So, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly suggest you guys check it out. I really think that even though it came out in '88, I think it holds up really well even today. And, the effects and everything like that are still really, top notch. So if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you guys check out Pumpkinhead. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love the movie. Like I said, definitely check it out if you haven't. The sequels, they're not that great, but the original film is one of my favorite horror films of all time. So definitely check it out. So I hope you guys have been enjoying, some of my horror film reviews and videos and stuff that I've been doing. Definitely wanted to try and do a little bit more, and, next year, hopefully I will kind of plan things out a little bit differently and be able to bring a little bit more to you guys. Still want to try and do a few more for this year. Things have just been crazy, where it's like my favorite time of the year, trying to do other things as well. But yeah, definitely, hope you guys have been enjoying this. If you guys have seen Pumpkinhead, please let me know, what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you haven't seen it, is it something that you guys are going to check out? And what's your favorite, monster movie, I guess, of all time? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it, just so that way you do get notifications for all my new videos. YouTube can be a little funny with the algorithm and stuff, and it really supports the video as well. And actually, if you could give a thumbs up on this video, I would appreciate that as well. So thank you guys again for checking this out. I hope you enjoyed my review of Pumpkinhead, and as always guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.